This video was made right before hell. Like, I was annoyed by someone last week, so I fired them. I would rather die. I don't really care what people think. I will be way more lethal. I am very annoyed. It stresses me out, dude. I don't look forward to that day, but all along the way, I'm mad. It's underestimated just how empty you'd feel, and I'm always in litigation. That was horrible, dude. Dude.
All right.
You're Tucker Carlson and Don Lemon got fired.
Yeah, dude. If either of them would like a job on the C-Suite
I
Unfiltered,
was thinking the same.
I'll go either way.
You know, it'd be an awesome show is if they both come together from completely different, like, opposite ends and made a network together. I think they do really good.
Maybe.
Like, I know,
but their audiences hate each other.
Yeah, like, I know, but like, dude, like, you know, middle of the aisle.
I mean, I agree. I know
just
this
have
is
everyone. Hey, look, like, we're not gonna, we don't discriminate against left or right or blue or red. We just want everyone.
Yeah, but then you get no one. Like what sells in the media? Extremes.
Hey, we're gonna take both extremes. We're gonna avoid the middle and just go opposite extremes.
Well, what was that one show? We were pretty young, so some of our more senior audience members. Was it Hannity? Who was the guy with Hannity? Sean Hannity used to have a co-host.
I have no idea.
It was still a Fox show, but he was definitely a more like left-leaning, liberal Republican. So he was still on Fox. Was it Hannity Combs? I don't know.
Can you imagine, though, if the two of them did news together? That would be so nuts. Awesome.
Just like Don Lemon holding his pencil and Tucker Carlson doing the face. Yeah, have you ever watched him when someone's debating him, he just does that face?
And they just endless debate, cross-examine people from like completely different angles. I'd watch that show. I'd never even watched the news. I'd watch that.
Hannity Combs, that's what it was. Alan Combs. Yeah.
No idea.
Oh, he passed away. So that's sad. Well, but yeah, they were more of a debate style. And then Sean Hannity went solo. But yeah, a lot of news today. There's a lot of things we could talk about. Yeah. Tucker Carlson, I texted one of my buddies about it, who's more in the political sphere, like stays up to date on it. And he said it'll be good for Tucker. He got on his own.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah, people underestimate just how powerful, once you're out from beneath a network, how much you can do. And if he can really start to do what he wants on social media and like he creates his own thing, dude, he could become huge.
Well, he's been getting out there. He's been doing like the podcast circuit too.
Yeah, he was just on
Nelk Boys, which they're wild. They had Trump again.
I know. I listened to that one.
Oh, really? I haven't listened to the whole thing. I saw some clips. It looked awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then they got like super emotional. They were like, "We need you back, man." It's like, all right, chill. I don't know if we should be crying over Trump right now, but I mean, hey, passionate.
Oh man.
Yeah, man. Well, how's your week been?
Well, it's Monday, so far so good.
Yeah, but like I guess in general.
Last week was horrible. Thursday, CoPilot, we went down for like 20, 30 minutes twice. So it was just part of we had to get the server up. But then I was up all that night getting the server up live. So we took the site down for a bit and then put the server up. So it's good. But like I'm just trying to make sure that we keep it stable, but also keep innovating fast enough and don't slow down the rate of innovation. So that's what we're working on. It's been good. Yeah. That was stressful, dude. Thursday was not a good day. That was horrible, painful. So, but I think we got some good things in place. I kind of brought forward what we were going to do in terms of testing for deployment and stuff like that. And then I got another developer coming in-house. They're going to sit right next to me starting Wednesday. I got him to start earlier.
So you have 2 in-house CoPilot folks right now?
3.
Yeah.
Oh, 2
You're
now.
Bringing a third.
Yeah. And then everyone else is like the teams that I've had from P4P and then what used to be Lawn Pro. And they are all virtual.
Okay. Gotcha.
So we do a lot of stuff in person, like on Slack. And every single morning we do a video chat with all of it. But there's like it's probably at least 10, 11, 12 people now. It's quite a few. So it's growing.
Yeah. How are things at Augusta going? I feel like a good mix of our audience here on the pod aren't inside of Augusta, and the public channel has been a little bit more about the corporate locations and Chuck, the regional manager out there, who's awesome.
We're training up at least 12 to 15 more people over the next couple weeks because the past couple weeks, service output was really slow, and then we had a lot of people get sick, a lot of people. And that's the downside of having everyone in-house. Like we still have some people working virtually, but mostly in-house. And whereas last year was like half and half, now it's like 90%, 80% in-house. So the problem with that is when there's sickness going through, man, you can wipe out the whole office in like a matter of a couple of days. And that happened. That really put us back. So I think in the next couple of weeks we'll slowly chip away at it. It's just like once you get that far behind, because everyone was like rebooting their computer multiple times a day, waiting for service autopilot and clearing cache off after every single task, and doing stuff like that. So that really slowed us down. And so I think we're like I think in a couple weeks though, once we get the new teams up, and then everyone's mostly healthy again, so like we'll recover. So I don't want to overreact, because if we overhire, then it puts more, like we can't give as many hours to our existing team during the summer and then fall and winter. It's really just the spring rush is very acute. So once spring rush is over, I'm sure we'll debrief. We got to figure out a better way of dealing with like half of our staff being gone for a few days, and that really hurt us. But fortunately, the franchisees understand, like they also deal with employee issues like that. But they can control their schedule. Like, you can put things off. We can't. Like it just keeps coming no matter what. Yeah. So we'll get better every single year. It's still leagues better than last year, but it'll get even better next year to the same magnitude. So that's what I'm a little more relaxed about them, because I know it's so much better than last year, and I just see all the flaws and what I want to change. But it's like, hey, we'll do that next year and we'll make it better. Right. But like when you're in the middle of spring rush, we can't overhaul things. It just creates too much chaos.
Yeah, I saw some like minor recent changes, and you guys were very delicate like about how you presented it, because it's a big team.
People are stressed,
and they're stressed out. It's emotional, and like
you're working like 30, 40 overtime.
You're working as hard as you can, and then you're like, oh great, now I have to do this new thing or learn this new way. And you guys, I would say from what I've seen, because like I don't really work at the command center, but I see all the updates.
Oh, you saw the video?
Yeah. Oh, dude, I see it all. I see it all. It was great.
I had to pull that out of the bag.
Well, yeah, we hit him with the 1-2 punch, because you did the inspirational video, and so it's funny. You did an inspirational video for our internal team of command center, and you posted it kind of late at night. And my wife and I were just sitting in the living room. I think she was reading, and I was just scrolling on my phone. And I was like, hey, you mind if I put this on the TV? So we have a smart TV, so I threw it up on the big screen, and we watched it together. And as soon as the inspirational video from you, which was fantastic by the way, was over, I just looked at my wife. I said, yeah, I'm gonna leave early tomorrow to buy treats for the team. So 1-2 punch. You hit him with the inspirational words, and I got donuts and coffee and snacks.
That's all you can do, man. Like when half your team's out because they're so sick, the other half is coming to work sick, and everyone is sick, and you've done everything to make sure everything's cleaned and sanitized. We had like aspirins and like vitamin C
Clorox
stuff.
wipes.
We had every medication you could want over the counter was like, just like, if you want it, you can have it. Yeah. I'm just glad there's no one like OD'd on
We're not IDing here, yeah.
So, but you're just doing everything you possibly can, and you also just gotta be careful, because as soon as you hire, you slow yourself down for a few weeks, because you got to train them up. So if you do too much of that, then you make it even worse, and then you just can't overwork people. So that's what, that was the rallying cry. It's like, hey, we really need everyone to work, but don't work too hard. So, yeah.
I think you guys are doing a good job. You and Liz and the team over there. It's leagues ahead of last year, right?
There's still so many things I want to improve, but I just gotta like. Same thing with Liz. She has a whole bunch of stuff. She's already like, hey, we could make this better. If people do fall out, here's what we need to prioritize. So it's way better than last year. It's gonna be 10 times better next year based on some of the stuff she and I have talked about. But we're just like, hey, we only gotta work on what we have now.
Yeah, makes sense. I had a thought. I don't remember where I was going with it, but command center, they're doing great, man. They are.
You asked how Augusta was doing.
Yeah, I asked how Augusta was doing. I don't know my name.
The corporate shops are doing good. The videos went out last week. That was good.
Dude, those videos are crushing, man.
Yeah.
There was a guy, it was actually funny, I took a screenshot, I sent it to Chuck, so shout out Chuck, just phenomenal manager, like just a great guy to work with. And someone commented on one of his videos, and they said, I'd quit too if I had to work for that guy. And I sent it to Chuck, I said, you're killing it, bold of this guy to assume that you would even hire him in the first place. Because I'm very certain that guy would not have been hired by Chuck based on that comment. That guy would have been late to his interview with Chuck.
I was talking to Chuck, the challenging part is like, so basically Steven gets like 150 clips from them, right? And there's no order other than just time, and Steven has to make a storyline, right? And so he took like probably 200 plus clips from Chuck last month, and then split them up into 3 different stories, right? What people don't realize is that someone like Chuck might have said something 3 or 4 times in the month, but it sounds like he's harping on it because we condensed that into a 5-10 minute video,
right?
And so it can seem like he's really harsh against something. It's like, really, he said it 1 week, and he said it 2 weeks later, and he said it 10 days later after that. And then Steven's taken all that and put it very close together. So shout out to Steven. He's phenomenal at the editing side. And then Chuck does a great job, and it's just easy to get misinterpreted when you're getting that selective with your clips from such a wide date range. Yeah, it can make you sound like a jerk. And so I was texting back and forth with Chuck about it. I'm like, dude, you don't need to change anything. He's like, I should be soft. Like, I should be soft enough. I'm like, no, dude, you're just fine. So
I think it attracts to people know like we're serious.
Well, I told him this. I told him or Liz, I forget. Like the bottom line is, we are showing the bad and the ugly along with all the good. Like it's going to be very easy. It'd be very easy if in 3 to 6 months we just showed all the numbers from the locations and they'll all be doing fine, right? Even the one that was struggling is already doing good this month. So it'd be easy to do that. And but then the problem is if I do that in 6 months or 12 months or whatever, or like next year I'm cash flowing $2,000 in distributions every month from all these locations. I haven't been there. Like I could easily pull that card. The problem is people would join Augusta or they'd start their own business and they hit all these road bumps that he's hitting in the first 3 to 6 months and they'd give up because they're like, oh, I must be doing something wrong or I'm stupid or like, and that's not true. Like that's just how business is. Yeah. So us being really authentic and genuine, yes, we might lose the person that is a fan and would otherwise join Augusta if I just showed the positive, but I don't want them in the system anyways because they're gonna collapse as soon as they have failure. And so I think just being open and honest about everything. I told Chuck, like, just show everything. Like your raw emotion is fine because that's how they're going to feel when they have to go and pick up everyone's slack or people quit last minute, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've had 2 people on introductory calls recently, new to Augusta, new to the channel, that want more information, and 2 people have just said that, like, Chuck's great, I love the transparency, I love that you guys are just showing this, and it does show the raw authenticity of, like, hey, building a business isn't easy. With Augusta, is it a lot easier? Yeah, of course, but without it, it's still going to be a challenge, right? So, yeah, but those have been great videos, man. I'm loving them. I'm loving what Chuck's doing. So I want to jump back, though, to your YouTube channel, but let's rewind a year.
Okay.
All right. So you posted a video, and the title of the video is "I turned down a $10 million offer to buy my business." ...
Yeah.
So do you remember this video a little bit?
I do.
I know you post a lot of videos, but so you basically explained to the people that private equity tried to buy out Augusta, and then you go on to explain why you didn't sell. But I almost want to start there. Like, what did that feel like? What did that feel like?
Declining it or making the video?
Getting the offer.
So I was on the airplane. We were taxiing out when I got the email. I still remember it. It's kind of weird because like I didn't accept it, but like it was kind of surreal because like you don't ever put valuation on your equity, right? And I don't really plan to sell, so it doesn't really matter a whole lot. And I've talked to a lot of these VC firms and private equity and talked about selling just so I can educate myself, but I've never got to the point where they offered me money. Right? They've always like thrown evaluations and they want projections and all that sort of thing. So I've really stopped doing that probably the past 3 months. I probably won't do it anymore, like because I have no desire to sell and I got kind of what I need from those calls. But I remember when it came in. What did I feel? I think there's definitely a sense of validation just because like someone values what you've done to that extent. And like, I don't look so much for people validating me, but like the numbers, like I like that. Yeah. Like I'm just not going to lie. And then because I run the businesses so on such little cash, like cash in the bank, in order to keep growing so quickly, it's like a nice, like, okay, like I'm going the right direction, even though it's hard. And like, I'm doing the right thing. Cause like, I don't have to run this by board. I could email back yes. And like, I'd have money. So that felt good. But it was just like, okay, I'm doing the right thing, and it was zero inclination to type yes.
Yeah. So do you want to share the actual number?
So no, all I can say, because I have to sign NDAs to get into all these. So I can say that I would have made more than 10 million personally, and what else could I say?
Pre-tax or?
And I was selling majority ownership.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
But they wanted kind of like everything. They wanted the holding company.
So I think what's interesting to take it into context, because you start with that video, I want to just...
Which would have been a horrible deal for me now. Even a year later.
Well, that's what we're getting into. Oh, okay. See, you're jumping the gun here. So you start the video and you say, hey, this is a hard video for me to make. I'll put the link in the description. Go back and watch it.
Why did I say it was hard for me to make?
I mean, you know,
because I could have regretted it. That's true.
Yeah. So you were like, I could regret this, but you wanted to be transparent for your audience and really show like what you were going through. And you basically say like, I got offered this large amount of money, over $10 million, and you were at a crossroads. So what did you feel like that crossroads was? Sell out? Were you low on cash? Like you were trying to grow Augusta?
Dude, I'm always low on cash.
Yeah.
I'm always stressed out.
But you don't really, I guess you don't explain like the crossroads. Does that make sense? So I almost want to get a little bit deeper.
Yeah, okay. So I guess the crossroads would be like, okay, I've always said that I'm not going to sell majority stake ownership in Augusta. This is literally like in my hand. I could do it in a second. And I guess the temptation is like you immediately don't have this pain. And the pain is like not sleeping at night because I'm stressed about cash. And, you know, what happens when X, Y, and Z in the building project and all these stresses, and how much we just deployed for like corporate locations and all these stuff, right? So that stress immediately goes away. And that's 80 to 90% of the time when I can't sleep at night is because of money. And it's weird because like, it's weird to have this really high net worth, but like from a cash perspective, I feel very poor. Yeah. Because I just keep like, if I have anything more, okay, if it's more than $1 million, like it's going out the door, and it's like, well, that's a lot of money, and cash is millions. Like, no, I can in a month, all my businesses can burn $1 million, and that's assuming there's not like a tax bill, there's not litigation, and I'm always in litigation. I've the past year and a half, I've never not been in litigation of some sort. So that's always like hanging over your whole head, right? I've never had to pay a settlement. I've never been at fault. But like, you just don't know what those are going to go.
Totally.
I'm still in one right now for something that one of the franchisee's employees did that I'm on the lawsuit for. So that's always hanging over your head. So like, you got to watch your cash position because you never want to get wiped out. And when you don't have investors backing you up, like you are the backstop. So like in the moments, like I guess the temptation would have been, you know, you can immediately have this ticket to like not have this pain anymore. And I think it just sunk into me like, this is a lifestyle business. I'm not selling. I love what I do. And if I took this $10 million or $20 million or whatever down the road, like, what am I going to do tomorrow? This is what I love to do. Yeah. So I would basically just have to go back to the drawing board and figure out another business. Why would I want to do that? I'd spend another 3 or 4 years. And in that time, I could have taken what I had and make it so much bigger compared to like the delta between 0 and 10 million. I could have easily done, I'll do that in the next 3 to 4 years. And I'd probably have done that already. So like, yeah, like it's underestimated just how empty you'd feel as a business owner pouring 80 hours a week and then immediately you have nothing to work for. And like everything you've poured yourself into, like the team and the culture, and like all of a sudden that's gone. Or worse yet, someone's telling you what to do. Like that's not gonna happen. So like and even for me, like even if like they wanted me to still run as CEO, so and they wanted me to have minority stake ownership. Like, well, the problem is my whole ethos with the team is like they know that I'm not living on a lot. They know that I'm living small and I'm putting everything into the business. And so I walk in the next day, I have $15 million, whatever $1 million, and like what's in it for them? I don't have any equity for them in the future. I don't have any stock options. I don't have anything to give. And so the whole dynamic would change. And because it's not for money for me, I can expect that from my team, and I can expect them to push. So anyways, yeah, that was a long diatribe.
No, I loved it. It would be painful to watch you operate under a board of directors.
No, there'd be no way. I would like
it would be so painful to watch.
No, dude, I'm telling you, like there's just no way it would work ever.
Because that's how it would work, right? They would bring in a board of directors.
Yeah, you'd be acting fire CEO. Me so fast, dude.
Oh yeah, well you'd be acting CEO for 3 minutes.
I bet within 3 weeks I'd get fired if I was a CEO underneath the board.
Yeah,
like I guarantee it. Because like like even the other day when I apologized like that and did the thing that would have affected the holding group.
Right.
So that would have all been ran through. I'm under another cease and desist right now from another company. That would be a huge issue if I had a board. With me, it's like not a big deal. I'm like recording my calls with the lawyers. Like it's great. But if I get a board, dude, everything has to be kosher and everything has to be done right. Like, I'm not having it, dude.
So at the end of the video, you jump to an analogy and you say, Grant Cardone, I take him with a grain of salt, but he's obviously a successful businessman, and that you once heard him say, and I'm sure other people have said this, probably Warren Buffett and others, but like rich people sell, wealthy people hold. And so that was the crossroads where you said, okay, I'm going to hold. Like, I'm going to hold on to Augusta. So I
wouldn't say that's a crossroads. That's validation for what I felt, right? So, like, okay, I've always felt that way, but from a financial perspective, it's hard to walk away from the money, but you can kind of validate it by saying, okay, like, statistically speaking, people don't sell that are wealthy, very, very wealthy. Mm-hmm.
So you essentially decided, and correct me if I'm wrong, you sold off some real estate. That's when you made this decision, was shortly after this video, or right before the video.
Yep.
So you sold off real estate, and that was to fund what?
Yeah, so like a year ago, we were trying to fund the whole building project, and we were looking at debt. Which, if I would have done good and got loan like a debt last year, it would have been really, really bad because you fix your rate with the SBA when you finish your building project. Mm-hmm. So my interest rate would probably be like 8.5%, 9% right now on that project. Mm-hmm. So the fact that I sold last year a lot of the real estate is super beneficial. I was able to 1031 all of that, just completed actually today, my 1031. April 23rd, say the 23rd? Yep. Yeah, yesterday. So yesterday, 23rd, yeah. So I got the paperwork today after the 23rd rolled around. That was 6 months. So you got to do everything within 6 months. So I finished all of that 1031, so I won't have to pay any taxes on all my real estate that I sold. Like, nice. Awesome. Yeah. Clutch. And then we should be able to, if I sell one more piece of real estate, I should be able to get the building project for cash, which will be a big burden off, which the alternative that was like, I could sell a piece of the company. Like I was going through all the options, right? It's like, do you take on debt, which didn't work out last year, fortunately. Could I take on equity? That's why I was entertaining all of these. Like, okay, potentially do I sell 20, 30%? Do I get money just to cover the building? There's just all the different options you're running through your head, right? So I'm still stressed out all the time, dude, about money all the time. I don't think it'll ever go away though. I think that number will go to, eventually it'll probably be like, if I don't have 50 million, I'll feel like I'm just stressed out. Yeah. That's just the honest truth.
Yeah. No, I love it. And that's what I kind of want to dive deeper. Cause obviously this video, if you watch it, like you are definitely more emotional and more stressed. Like I can tell your guard is down a little bit more in this video. So that's why I wanted to get into it. So basically sold off real estate. That's to pay for the building. And then was anything else used for like P4P or for so like Augusta or
back then and to date, P4P is still a money loser. I think it's really important for Augusta though. So I've always done it. Obviously everyone in Augusta doesn't have to pay for it. So we opened it up to where people could help us fund it essentially. And so that's been a big money drag. The thing is this, if I wouldn't have continued with P4P stuff, I would never have been able to do CoPilot. And so like, I'm sure in like years, this will all like make perfect sense, like a perfect book, but like, it didn't seem this linear last year. And that is like just a few months. Did I make this video?
This video is from February 2nd of last year.
So that's when I started really thinking about, I hated the CRM stuff, the stuff I was looking at. And throughout 2022, I became educated about software and business and software as a service and what AI should be doing in this industry, but wasn't. I got CoPilotCRM.com. Let's go. Before CoPilot and all like Microsoft came up with their version of CoPilot. It's like now you can't get anything CoPilot. I got CoPilotCRM.com, baby. Let's go. Before ChatGPT came along and all the rest of it. So I really started digging into the tech side. I hadn't gone into the tech stuff since I was in university, and I've made some apps of my own, just using Java and Objective-C for iOS devices. Made some apps and stuff like that. So like last year I started digging back into that, and I told a few weeks before that video, that I told Augusta, I said the next 5 to 10 years, every dollar I make is going to go into software. And I also in that same conference told them I don't plan on doing a CRM.
Yeah.
Because I just thought like other people would be picking up all of these pieces and like figuring this stuff out and being innovative. But then 2022, because of the recession, like it just double compounded just what my feelings were towards the CRM world. So, all of that to say, I don't know if in this video I was considering like maybe it was hard potentially because I needed money for P4P and like it's still the same way as CoPilot, right? But I just truly believe software is the thing we got to focus on for the next 5 years. And so I will constantly keep myself under a lot of pain because I'm just like spending money. Like I was just hired another developer there. They're expensive, man.
Oh yeah.
So, and then even when I made this video, the cost of a developer was almost twice of what it is today because all the big tech was hiring then. Well, now they're all laying off. So it's actually been a real big help for us to pass. It's horrible to say that other people are getting laid off. That's a good thing for me. But like, it's just the truth. It's like a developer, I could not get a developer for under $50 an hour, let alone 80. Cause like down in Seattle, you get $100 an hour, $200,000 plus stock options, plus full benefits, plus gyms and massages at work. And it was crazy. So now it's totally different. No one's hiring. And so it helps us a little bit.
Yeah, I was just talking to a guy who works in software development, and he just told me he does 48 an hour. Like, he was pretty transparent about it, and I was like, geez, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So
crazy high or crazy low?
I mean, that just in the grand scheme of labor, it's high. Like, most people don't think 48 an hour is, like, attainable.
But
like, most average people.
Last year, probably right around the time I'm making this video, I put one up for $50 an hour, did not get a single application. I put one up for $50 an hour recently, 30 to 40 applications in the first day.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's nuts. So you in this video, you say there's two things. You say two things need to happen in order for this play, this decision, this validation to be concrete. And you said number one is the franchise needs to get to profitability.
Oh yeah.
While expanding.
Yeah.
So how do we feel about that? Or is the franchise profitable?
Yeah, so it's profitable now.
Let's go.
I really want it to get to 25% profitability. I'd like it to be around 30% profitable because it will fund everything we need to do in the next 5 to 10 years. So, yeah, like I need it to be that profitable. So every one of it. So this, I think probably a month before this, I sent that text. I wish I would know what day this was. At some point, I text all of the managers. Remember, I said number one priority: every business needs to get to profit. Every sector and department must get to profitability, and not just the whole company, but like every department needs to be profitable. And so that was the focus. All last spring, we had to do some really painful, stupid stuff that I didn't want to do in terms of raising prices on the franchisees at Command Center and things like that. And that was really, really painful, but like we had to make sure we did not go down. And I think it paid off like huge. And so, yeah, this year will be profitable. Every dollar will be spent on software, but we'll be profitable. And I want to get that to 25 to 30%, just for the sake of like, hopefully a little more less anxiety.
And that's while expanding. So obviously we have the challenges of expanding Command Center, right? That's hiring, training, onboarding that you've already talked about. And then also expansion of new franchisees, onboarding them, getting them set up and supporting them for their success.
Yeah, well, this video was made right before hell.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
March, April, May last year was hell. So that's when all of that had to go down in terms of raising prices. We dropped a lot of the ball at Command Center stuff, just massive, just huge influx. And then our virtual team was just not set up for it because it was our first year trying to do 40, 50 people virtually. So that was hell. So if I would have talked to me in this video, maybe I would have taken the offer for 10 million if I would have had to live the next 3 to 4 months out.
Yeah.
But that was horrible, dude. Yeah, dude. One day I'll tell stories.
Oh, yeah. Definitely tell some stories. I remember from Friday nights, you, me, and Liz doing estimates. So the second thing that you said that needed to happen during this moment of validation or this crossroads was P4P software. But you just kind of explained what P4P software is in the video, and I listened to this video like 3 times before the podcast. So I was like, "What are you actually saying about P4P software?"
You have to remember that this video was probably made at like 2 a.m. when I was really tired.
Like you clearly explain, all right, the franchise. Like this is my bullet point. You didn't say verbatim franchise to profitability while expanding, but that's the bullet point of what you're saying. And then my bullet point for P4P software is
the reason
P4P
it had
software.
to get. So the reason that the franchise had to get to profitability is because I knew I'd have to sell something if we didn't.
Right.
I knew what we were going into. Spring it cost us a lot at Command, like hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so I also knew that P4P was costing me a lot of money, like $30,000 a month. We were losing on that, and so probably $35,000 a month. And so I just knew my burn rate was so high that if I didn't get everything to profitability as soon as possible, that we would have to sell. Like I have to sell something or go into a massive amount of debt or sell the real estate. And so I ended up selling the real estate.
Yeah.
That's what I ended up giving.
Yeah. So,
but it's the second one, P4P. So I think the reason that in the video, if I didn't actually state what exactly, it was that I knew I needed to keep investing in building the product, but it was costing me like a lot. And I didn't want to sink the whole ship, Augusta and everything we're doing, because P4P, I'm so like all about it. But it's also like, I believe in it 110%. And I know historically it'll be correct, but in the short term, it's like a very niche product that very few people will implement. And 90% of people that start off with a free trial do not get it because they can't implement in their business. They don't have open book management. They don't do profit sharing. But like when I look 5 years of what I want the software to be doing for Augusta, like we have to have it and we have to pay for it. And so it's just that hard part. Like I was talking about this with Liz the other day. The thing I live in a constant state of annoyance with everyone around me and the speed at which everything is being done. And it's not good. It's not healthy. And I'm sure that I know there's positive traits of it. Like, yes, I get a lot done and stuff like that, but it's not healthy. And that's partly probably why this video is made, is because like I want to go fast, but I have to, for the sake of cash, stay slow and focus on operations and tightening things up. And that's hard. And that's why it's tempting, especially during that time, to sell part of the business. Because if I had $10 million, dude, I immediately get dev team in-house. I immediately solve the problems at Command Center because I could overhire and overpay people to stay. So it's a total different dynamic when you're not having cash from investors. And so, yeah, there's some crazy stories I've never told anyone that like I will eventually, but like I got to wait a little bit longer.
Yeah.
From those few months. That's crazy.
If I may try to peel back a layer here, are you annoyed that P4P software is not more popular?
I am very annoyed. It stresses me out, dude. I thought, like, full transparency, that it would do pretty well financially because no one else does it like that. In hindsight, if no one else is doing it, there's probably not a market need for it. And there's not. It's very niche. There's not a lot of people that will start using P4P and actually implement it fully in their business. They'll do like this halfway thing, but then they don't need the software. Because like, well, then just use Excel. But if you're not sharing reports with your team, if you're not using the AI that we have with 3D notifications to notify your team of certain things, if you're not having them clock in and out on the app, if you're not doing profit sharing, open book management, like it doesn't work. And so basically what I was asking people to do is revamp their whole business. And so to date, only Augusta Lawn Care franchisees really do that, which is fine because we give them all the support in the network to actually make the changes required for P4P to work. But everyone else is like, oh, well, like I like this part of it and I like this part of it. And so it doesn't work. And so, yeah, like 90% of people that sign up with us a year later are not using it. There's a power group that use it and then do good and definitely do implement it. But, and it's possible. You don't have to be in Augusta to do it, but like no one does it.
Shout out ABC Lawn Works.
Yeah.
John Garrettson.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated due to the fact that like people are going to be really mad at Augusta in 10 years. And I'm going to point back and say, I gave you exactly what we did and you did not do it. And like people think that's arrogant saying, I'm just telling you what's going to happen. In 10 years, people are going to say it's hard to compete with Augusta. And I'm going to tell you, I laid this track of P4P. I made a video about everybody. It's free, all the content on how to implement it, and you did not do it. And by the way, here's your username that you signed up for 1 month and then asked for a refund. And I'm sorry, like that's going to happen. So, we made a decision that we had to do it publicly just to fund, and it's been helpful. We're almost at cash flow even on P4P right now. We're a little bit lost, but like I think in the next month or two I can get it to where the money we make from the public side funds development. And so if I ever started to make profit, I'd get more development. But I'm just so looking forward to integrate with CoPilot. People are going to lose their mind. The ones that are in CoPilot and actually use it, are in P4P and actually use it correctly when we integrate with P4P. No one's going to use it hardly besides the franchisees. Guarantee it. Yeah. Guarantee it. But if you fully integrate with P4P and then you pop it into CoPilot, what we're going to be doing is nuts. Like a live dashboard on your phone as an employee to be able to see what you're making as a speedometer, not like a very linear dollar per hour, or even a paycheck on P4P. But now you're seeing live. Every time you complete a job in CoPilot, it's like updating your thermometer, updating your speedometer, and then you're able to see a live competition throughout for your team the entire day, like of who's making the most money today. Dude, we're gonna kick butt.
I just had an idea. If I were doing interviews, I would have the dashboard open.
Just live on the screen.
Yeah, and this is one of our high performers. You can see he's currently at 27 an hour.
Yeah, dude. Like I have a lot of stuff we want to do. It's gonna take a lot of money, and so I'm just excited about it.
Yeah, I think that the reason, and I appreciate you answering the question, but I think it is frustrating for someone who kind of grew up in the system, seeing it get developed, seeing it implemented, and then now, 5 years down the road, there are guys that are entry-level employees at one of your shops that are guaranteed 18 an hour, and they're consistently making 24 an hour. Mm-hmm. Like it works, and people just don't want to put in the effort.
Plus, now we can afford medical benefits, paid time off, profit sharing, gym reimbursement, and that's
gas
all
cards.
because of P4P.
Yeah.
And so, but it was hard to implement, and it is hard to implement. I get that, and that's why it hasn't done well. It takes a full rebranding, like redoing your whole company. Mm-hmm. And I hope that by controlling CoPilot, I can make that way easier. Mm-hmm. Because if I can make it where it's really easy to implement with like budgeted hours and scheduling using budgeted hours, and then using the rate and popping that in the rate matrix and really making that focal point, I can make it easier to switch into P4P, right? But yeah, it could still just P4P is an Augusta thing. It still is. Yeah. So. But I'm looking forward to the day. Give me 10 years when I can point back and say, like, because people will get mad on social media. They'll be like, yeah, it's impossible. Like, you guys are, yes, we will be cheaper than, we will be able to compete at a lower price than everyone else. Like, that's what software does. It's deflationary. And they'll get mad about that. And they'll get mad that we take all their employees and they can't find anybody because now we have 1,000+ locations and we suck up all the talent. And we can compete because we have all the ad dollars to be able to go get the laborers during spring rush. We will do that. Mm-hmm. And I will point back and I will say, I gave you guys every single point and juncture of what you should be doing in your business. And you didn't do it. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, I don't look forward to that day, but all along the way, I'm mad. Because like, why aren't you doing this? Like, I can't believe it, dude. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me. So you said these things need to happen. Franchise profitability. No, you're good. You're good. I love this. This is what I wanted. 2 things need to happen. Franchise profitability while expanding. Check. P4P software, I would say, 12-month check-in. It's like a half check. Yeah. Because you're almost at cash flow even. Yeah. And so I'd say you're almost checking the box.
And it's been slower development than I hoped for because of just the cash constraints. So, because we had to slow down the burn to like $15,000, $20,000 a month. And so now we're down almost to like break even. Mm-hmm. But that one's not about the cash. It's like, I wish I would have been able to keep spending on it to be able to have it further down the road. Mm-hmm. That being said, now with CoPilot, I kind of like probably took off a year of development because I'll be able to marry the two and bring stuff from CoPilot into P4P.
Right.
So
and CoPilot's not even in the conversation in this video.
Right.
It might have been in the back of your head. Maybe you were toying around with it, or not even. Wow.
No. I wasn't even thinking about it until I made a video for another CRM, tearing them apart and I was going to send it to their leadership team. Yeah. I decided not to. And a week after, I got on the phone with Patrick, who I've been friends with for a long time. And we're like, dude, we should do this. And that's when it all started, early October.
Nice. I remember you sent that video to us, to the leadership team.
And the Franchise Advisory Council.
And there were a lot of people on board, and I was very opposed. But I was like, this is a ride moment. And so I was like, whatever you want to do, I'm riding. Like, it just felt like my opinion, like, we were going to play it however you wanted to play it. And, like, my opinion didn't matter. I was like, I'm going to ride. I'll just be a rider. Yeah.
You never shared your opinion on that?
No, I never. No, not on that one.
Okay.
No, I was like, this is a ride moment. I trust you. Like, do I think it's the right decision? Not necessarily. But do I think, like, will it also give us maybe some leverage? Sure. So let's do it.
I have a lot of cards on that one. I got to hold until the end of the year.
Yeah, we can't go into that. All right, so the end of this video, let's wrap this up here on the breakdown of your video from a year ago. Mm-hmm. You said, and I wrote down the quote, you said, in 12 months, people will either say it was genius or foolish not taking the buyout from venture capital, funding your businesses by selling off your real estate.
Well, personally, I don't really care what people think about that decision. For me personally, it was like 100% the right decision not to sell. There's definitely... From a economic standpoint, there's definitely something to be said about me taking that money. Mm-hmm. Because number one, I would be personally more well off now. Secondarily, the company would have been able to scale faster having capital backing.
Mm-hmm.
So from a purely financial standpoint, but like I would not be happy. The team around me probably wouldn't stick around. I would have to go build another team because usually you can't keep, like, I can't just like take all the best people and be like, all right, peace. Like that's all in the contract.
I would have left and just followed you.
So, yeah, no, I think it's the right decision. Economically, probably someone could make an argument for it, but like I would then be like, well, yeah, maybe in the short term, like year, but in 5 years, there's no way I'm going to care. And like, I won't like, there's an unhealthy thing about me being able to sleep at night because it means I don't care as much.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so making my life easier is not necessarily better for the business. And so this is why, like, you know, getting nicer houses or cars, whatever, I'm like, don't do that because it's not necessarily right for the franchisees or for the business because by me not being able to sleep means I care so much.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you take away that, I think you take away like the thing that makes me lethal against our competition, against the other CRMs. Like none of them have that at night. Not a single one of those CEOs I've talked to like are waking up at night because their system went down or because there's a bug they can't figure out or because they're trying to find a developer. Like none of them, not a single one. And it's because their incentive structure is that they've got the payout. I don't have the payout and I don't want, if I can delay that the longest, I will be way more lethal and I'm in it for the game. I'm not in it for the money. So like, you know, what am I going to do with like $10 million?
Yeah.
I made the video last weekend. Did you see about it on my second channel?
Yes.
Revived the second channel.
Yeah. Shout out to the second channel.
Yeah, dude. Actually, I talked about this kind of like
a little bit.
Your
You
business.
did a little bit. Yeah.
Like, you know, immediately half of it's taxed. Then you got to take the rest of the money and deploy it to be able to like beat inflation.
Mm-hmm.
So, I have to go start another business. Well, what am I going to do? Like the best industry, like the thing I know the most about, like I wouldn't be able to compete in it. So I go sit in the sidelines for 3 years. And I've seen plenty of people sell their business and then they go sit in the sidelines for 3 or 4 years because they have to for a non-compete. They come back and the whole industry is different.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we view software.
Okay, well, answer the question.
Okay.
Is it genius or foolish?
Well, it just depends who you talk to. Like for me personally, it's not even a decision.
Yeah.
Like it's not even, I careless who calls me genius or foolish. There's always someone online that'll pick one of those angles. But like, when you get to the point where you really, like, I care what people think. I really do. But I will never make a decision because of it. Like it hurts when people say negative stuff online or say that I'm doing things wrong or, especially when it's people that you care about, like franchisees or family or friends. But like ultimately, even though I might care about what they think, it does not have a have a seat at the decision-making table. And so like when I got the thing about the $10 million and all that stuff, and like I just knew immediately, this is like the ticket to immediately having better sleep, immediately not having as much stress, immediately. And it was not even a thought that I'd take that option. And like, to me, that was like, kind of like you jump off, like, okay, like, all right, like we're in it now.
Yeah.
Right. Cause I've said no to this. I've said no to like the option, like the exit ramp. And so, it's liberating. Like I wouldn't have I have no regrets about that. I don't think I'll ever want to sell. Like, I don't know. Like one day I think I need to sell a little bit, probably for the sake of liquidation, giving the team stuff like that. But until I go public with it, because public, I can still have control. I can have super voting shares, and I can still have control, but then be able to liquidate and allow the team to participate in that. And I think that gets interesting for me. But like, I think we're 15 to 20 years before like we have software and robotics so nailed that it's worth billions of dollars, and then I could do that. And that gets interesting. But like, what am I gonna do, dude? I don't want to live in a bigger place. Like, this is great. I literally vacuumed for the first time since I moved in the other day, because like I'm not messy, and like it's like super low maintenance.
Yeah.
I was talking to one of my friends the other day, and he spends over $2,500 a month just on cleaning his house. Like, no, dude, I don't want to think about like having a janitor and like figuring all this other stuff out. Like, I like it.
Yeah.
Simple, and I get to focus on what I love all day long. And then like on Saturday, I was like, I need to spend some time with my family. So I just like, hey, I'm gonna be here and here and here. I got couple hours. Like, let's just spend time. Like full autonomy. I don't need a board breathing in my neck, dude. I would rather die.
Yeah.
Like genuinely, I know people like think it's like way extreme. You shouldn't say. I would rather die.
Yeah.
It would take away the oxygen.
Yeah. There's freedom of movement.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. I think that's too what like keeps me and I don't want to speak for other employees, but like it's freeing and it's exciting that like we just kind of have this freedom of movement. As long as we're bought into the vision, like we just get to do what we want a little bit.
The best part about entrepreneurship is the fact that you get to choose who you work with every day. Mm-hmm. That's the bottom line. And if I had to run that through a board, like who my executives were going to be, or whether or not we should fire someone, like I'm like, dude, that's just like, why would I even want to work here? And if the money isn't going to do anything, well, then why would I take that? Like, it's a very easy decision. And it wasn't. That's why I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
Because like, okay, the money, I don't need the money. It'd be a pain in the butt to have to figure out how to deploy it, in a capital efficient way and tax efficient way. And it'd rob me of the thing that I love most about my life. That I get to control who I work with every single day. That's the best part. Like, I was annoyed by someone last week, so I fired them. I know it sounds really bad, but I was annoyed. And like most people, if I would have been an executive that had my hands tied by a board, I would have had to run it through other people. I would have had to like, okay, make sure this isn't like discrimination and all this other stuff. I'm like, dude, like you're just not working out. I did a really dignified way, had a meeting with their manager and let them go.
Yeah.
And made sure I didn't embarrass them or anything, but like they annoyed me for days on end after being like warned and stuff. So like, yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know the context of that one.
I try to keep it. People listen to this.
Great.
Bro.
Yeah.
You remember that, like my team members listen.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. All right. Well, thank you for going down memory lane with me.
Oh yeah,
I loved it. It was fun.
Dude.
Yeah.
I almost started tearing up there.
That's what I was getting towards. I was pushing a little bit.
Anytime I try not to think about it a lot. Honestly, dude. Last spring was. Yeah. That was quite the thing.
Yeah, we'll dive into that later. So not on this one. Do you have any not financial advice? Not financial advice for the folks.
Not financial advice. I guess I finished the 1031 exchange yesterday. So I think the big thing to think about with 1031 exchange, you only have 6 months once you declare a 1031 exchange to spend the money. Mm-hmm. And this is what's crazy is I was really thinking like last year I'd sell this property. Right, it's my largest piece of real estate, and I thought I would sell it. I'm really happy I didn't because the delay in the building project would have meant that I wouldn't have been able to use all the funds from this sale on the building project. So now I have like plenty of time to sell this one. Maybe I make a little $100,000, $200,000 less because the market's come down a bit, but I won't have to pay taxes on it because I'll be able to do all of it in a 1031, and then that will pay off the rest of the building project. Versus if I would have sold it last year, yes, I would have made the extra couple $100,000, but I would have been on probably $800,000 in capital gains. That would have had to pay taxes on that. So probably let's just call it $200,000 in taxes I would have had to spend. So.
Yeah. So not financial advice.
Though. Not financial.
It's not financial advice.
Well, that's how it is. Like it's not financial advice because I'm giving financial advice, and it's not financial advice for you.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect.
But yeah, 1031's exchange. You got 6 months. Just make sure you really have your timelines down.
Cool. I love it. Here's mine, and I feel like I was very like on the forefront of this groundbreaking idea. And then I realized my groundbreaking idea was just meetings. Like having meetings. Okay. So structured communication. That's my way of...
Oh, like what you're doing at Bellingham?
Yeah, that's my way of framing it. And then I was like, wait, that's just, I just came up with a new name for meetings. Structured communication.
Well, we used to not have very much of structured communication.
Yeah, no, it's my new thing. I'm laying my claim to structured communication. Wait for my book to come out. But basically, no, I think there's some value in this. So I think I've been dealing with, obviously, we have a lot of franchisees that are at the level of their business potentially being handed off to a general manager, potentially opening a secondary location. You obviously just opened 4 brand new locations, bringing your total to 7 corporate locations that you have then entrusted Chuck and I to essentially check in and make sure they're running efficiently for you. And one thing that Chuck and I have found through our working with GMs is structured communication allows for a lot more effective leadership skill building, I think. I think that when you have a new leader or general manager, it is very hard to, if you don't have a lot of relationship capital, right? A new hire or someone that's maybe a new professional relationship with you, you can't just call them out when they're doing something wrong. And I think what you have to do is provide structured communication, i.e. meetings, where it's like, hey, this is what we're going to get into during this meeting. We're going to do some self-evaluation. We're going to talk about what our goals are. And then we're going to try to achieve said goals. So I was talking to a franchisee today, and he said, well, my right-hand man was my friend before we got into business. We're probably going to break $1 million this year in annual revenue, and I'm thinking about location 2, but I don't know how to approach those tough conversations with him. And I said, why don't you just tell him, hey, because we want to make this location successful, because I want you to be a manager of this location, what if every Monday we have a quick meeting, and we just catch up on what happened last week and what do we need to work on this week? Now, and it starts to break the ice, and then you can get into the more nitty-gritty intangibles versus, when it's a red flag issue with a manager or a leader, you just jump in and you say, hey, that's an issue, we got to fix it. But when it's more, man, I've noticed their time management skills are off. How do I address that? Well, I think it's through a consistent, structured communication or meeting where you address like, hey, last week we got behind on X. Why do you think that happened? Hey, this week we were ahead on X. Why do you think that happened? And then helping them work and develop their decision-making skills. So I think structured communication. So if you have trouble communicating with someone, maybe just set up some recurring meetings with them. I know you don't really like this.
No, I think it's good. My head was going, how do I replace this with software?
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, because that's
but it's the intangibles.
Yeah, there's intangibles, but like there's a certain level of this stuff that can be measured, and like how many budget hours are completed per week.
Yes.
Number of estimates, number of meetings that can all be synthesized, and then but in terms of the one-on-one, you still need to have that. Mm-hmm. And yeah, 100% right, dude.
Yeah.
I agree 100%.
I think people need to implement more structured communication with team members and managers.
I agree.
Because
even at Command Center, having one-on-ones is game changer.
Yeah, because I think it's very easy for me to see a manager and be like, your close ratio is low. Get it higher. Well, why is their close ratio low? Is it because they have bad time management skills and they're rushing around getting to estimates and they're not typing their estimates up at the property, right? They're waiting till the end of the day, then they're forgetting which job is what, and then they're putting together horrible estimates. Therefore, they have a bad close ratio. So
I like your idea of having the meeting with the GM, potential GM before too, because what you can say is some really harsh things that you would say if they were in GM mode, but now they're not. So you have like an indirect target.
Yep.
So you could say like, I'm still the GM of this location, i.e. owner. You're going to be the GM next year. If someone was the GM right now, this is what I'd be saying and doing. And you could be really harsh, and they'd get like the tone of where the standard's at, and then they're not the target because they're not there yet. They're not the GM, and you can point your finger at the GM that doesn't exist yet.
Right.
And then they know that's the standard, right? And so even like these videos that Chuck's doing, I feel like that's kind of what he's doing.
Right.
And he instilled it. Even like last week, I saw like the improvement in some of their numbers is like he is indirectly calling them out.
Right.
In the meetings, he is doing somewhat like very, very pointed, like calling people out and telling them they need to do better. But then also by doing like an indirect, like this is what a GM should be, you kind of indirectly say, this is, you're not towing the line if they're self-aware enough. I think that's what's helpful with like the franchise too. Like even on the roundtable, you and Chuck talking about what makes a great GM on the roundtable. Yes, half of that was for owners to know how to deal and quantify and measure the success of their GMs, but it was also for all the GMs listening. It was like our way of like notifying them for the owners who can't say those things. And so I think either having an intermediary like a franchise or B software or having, scheduled meeting is 100%.
And that's what I told the franchisee is I said, if I texted you out of the blue things that you're doing wrong in your business, you would take that very harsh. You just would. But if you schedule a coaching call with me and we get into your numbers together, because we've both set aside this time, you will not take it as harsh when I call you out for doing something wrong. And he was like, that makes sense.
And that's why profit sharing is so important, I feel like, for a general manager, because then your incentives are aligned. Right, like if you don't give them profit sharing, I've seen this. Like we could kind of assume general managers will get profit sharing. I still see companies that don't do it. And it's like I want the majority of their pay over the course of 3 to 5 years to become mostly performance pay based upon profit. The reason is because when I sit down and I say things about numbers, close ratio, I can then all I need to do is say profit is affected by close ratio. Your close ratio is not good enough. And that is going to affect the profit. Like you see directly between your paycheck and the profit line and this other thing called close ratio. And so if you have the incentives all in one's aligned, like I want more money, general manager wants more money, great. Let's figure out this third party problem called close ratio or whatever it is, right? So, that's good. Yeah, I think structured communication, it's one of those things that like we didn't have for a long time.
Yeah.
And you almost pride yourself in like, we're this like young company, like structure and all that sort of thing. And then as time goes on, you realize like why structure has to be in place for larger companies. And like it's even that video I made for Command Center, like I don't know a lot of people's names.
I mean, same.
Like
just being honest.
And like I hate that in one regard, but on the flip side, like I have to remain within the structure of the organization, because if I jump down and fix a problem for them, it creates a lot of issues for the people in between me and them, the middle management. And so, like even the other day, someone asked me a question and they wanted my advice. I like so badly wanted to answer because like I love answering questions, and I was like, you're gonna have to talk to Liz.
Yeah.
And I was like, don't say anything, Michael. Don't do it, because like you just know you're gonna mess it up.
Yeah.
And you might give the right answer, but you're gonna mess it up for the other person.
Yeah. So I invented meetings. That's my now financial advice.
Have meetings, folks. You heard it here first.
Let's do it. Like and subscribe.
All right. Take care, everyone.